Hello, love, the open meeting for anybody who wants to come along and find out what it's all about and what developments there have been lately. Today we have with us Edward, who is with Reform, and we have a new person, Cliff, who I'm not entirely sure what his association is, and he will introduce himself later. So if we can just take a moment now to come out of the day and into the meeting. So feel the feet on the ground and the support of the ground. Let the roots of your body go down, down, down into the earth, connecting up with the earth and drawing the energy up as you breathe. Feel the energy of the earth coming up through the feet, up through the legs, through the hips, having a little wash around that pelvic bowl, up through the internal organs, the spine, coming up into the heart and the shoulders, and those shoulders can go down now. And along the arms, up through the neck and the throat. Feel that throat getting a little bit empowered there with the energy of the earth coming up and sending it up through all the cells in the head, giving it a bit of a wash with that earth energy and going up through the energetic branches that come out of the head and into the universe and connect us up with the source and the sun. And now we can bring that energy in from the source, down those branches, trickling over the head through the crown chakras, down through all the cells of the body, giving them all a bathe in this glorious source energy. Visualize it as light coming down through the face, letting that relax a bit now, letting the jaw relax and the eyes. Down through the throat, let the communication chakras open. And down through the chest, going along the breast, letting the muscles around the ribs and the chest relax. And down through the arms and through the fingers, through the spine, down through the solar plexus, down the spine, into the stomach, and letting it all wash with light. Down through the pelvis, can relax our buttock cheeks now, because the seat is there supporting us. And down through the legs, back down, down, down into the earth, and down through those roots, re-energizing the earth. Okay, so just let yourself breathe. Check the shoulders are down. Check your hips are relaxed, pelvis is relaxed. Facial muscles, although they can have a little smile, they can be relaxed and let go of the tension around the jaw. As we come into today, let's say thank you. We have a lovely, clear day. Thank you for the connections that we have, the connections with each other that technology allows. We'd never have met each other without the technology. Thank you for the physical connection that we're all starting to experience. And thank you for all the help that we're getting from those who are within the system as well as those who are outside, the good people in the NHS who are trying their best to make the experience good, even though the system may be faulty. Those who are in big organizations like NASA who are trying to offset what they know is wrong and trying to bring in new technologies. We have access to technologies that have not been available to us for a long time now. Rife frequencies, Schumann frequencies, Tesla's ideas are all coming out again. And all this is because there are other people in all areas of life who are looking out for the best interests of their fellow man. So we always have a little coming into the space. If you think about a physical meeting, you would normally have a bit of a null around, wouldn't you? Getting to know each other, getting to know the feel of the room. And you don't really, that's a luxury you don't have on Zoom. Zoom has done a lot of things, but it can't replicate that. And so we come into the space, so try and set our mind. And what we have here is a few things that Rachel, I think, will introduce, and perhaps a bit off not off our normal centre. It's we have political parties here, and that's quite appropriate because there's a lot happening with mayor elections, police commissioner elections, council elections, and of course the big subject that Rishi Sunak is avoiding, the general. So we have other people here, which is great. So what we're going to be aiming for, if we can just keep this in mind, and it may not be an immediately obvious thing, is we're all going to be aiming for win-win, aiming for wins for everybody, aiming for wins for the entire world. And that can sound a bit odd because sometimes we think, well, what's good for, Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates is not good for us. But actually, what's good for one is good for each individual. Sometimes, there are lessons that they have to learn too. Maybe maybe they will not appreciate it, but bringing the old system down will be good for everybody. Those who are apparently enjoying it now may not enjoy the lesson. We haven't enjoyed the lesson of COVID either, or whatever waking up we've had. But in the end, I think we're glad we've gone through it, that we're stronger, that we've all developed and grown because of it, and learned a lot of lessons. And now we feel empowered to bring in that new age. Okay, I hope that's got you all settled in. And I'm going to go to Rachel first, who can do some introductions and tell us what all the developments that have been going on. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I did put my hand up actually just to say that Roger's phoned to say that he's having trouble getting on. So I'm suspecting that's why we haven't got as many people. We normally have a few more. So just to welcome onto the call, we've got Edward Oakenfull from Reform, who is standing in the Derbyshire Dales constituency, possibly against me, although I may well be moving. So we might not be against one another, Edward, after all. And then we've got Cliff. Sorry, Cliff, I don't know your surname, but you're from Greater Britain, and also Nicism, Make Mankind.
That's correct.
Which is a very interesting website, very aligned to the Love movement. And of course, Love started as a political party. That was our intention, but we couldn't get an electoral commission registration. All of our bank accounts were continuously closed. And in the end, we had a vote, and we decided that we would just be a movement, just encouraging people to stand as independents. And because we've taken that stance, it's allowed us to kind of weave our way through a lot of different movements and parties, and this kind of fragmented dissatisfaction with the system, which is popping up all over the place with new parties and movements and initiatives. And so we're very much sort of like stitching them together, a bit like a sort of patchwork quilt or something. So it's really beautiful to have Edward and Cliff on today to kind of share a bit about their views. And I've also been following Marianne Williamson in America, and she's saying a lot of the same things that we've been saying. And my personal view is that it's really important for us to hold the space for everyone and to not judge and close down just because someone's 80% in agreement, but we get hung up on the 10 or 20% that we don't like about them. And that's how division works. And of course, the system is constantly using divide and conquer all the time, red and blue, both cheeks of the same arse. So we feel, and maybe this is a kind of feminine thing as well, because obviously our three founders, Lynn, Julie, and myself, all females, are much more inclusive, like seeing this as a big family. And in a family, not everyone agrees, and not everyone, there's a few fights, but actually, generally, if we work together as a giant collaboration, that's got to be much more formidable and challenging to the establishment than if we're fragmented and arguing amongst ourselves. So this is very much how we're seeing our role. And I know, Julie, you're very involved with Andrew Bridgen, and also now with the Workers' Party. Obviously, we're holding the space for Reform, supporting Alan Graves with East Midlands Mayor, because I just literally didn't have the resources, and I felt it was just a waste of money to actually run, almost like a fine for challenging the government, to stand as one of these regional mayors. totally corrupt, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. So maybe we will kick off by coming to our guests to set the tone. I would actually quite like to come to you, Cliff, first, because you came out of left field. But tell us a bit about Greater Britain before we go to Edward and reform.
Okay, so thank you, thanks so much for letting me come and talk, and also to meet all you guys. Yeah, love. I mean, everything you're talking about kind of resounds with me, and actually, I've gone into the political realm only because of I could see the impact it was going to have on humanity if we didn't stop what they're attempting to do with World Health Organization, WWF, CBDCs, the whole totalitarian surveillance type process that's going forward at the moment. So Nicism is actually my foundation stone. It's a website I'd encourage everybody to go and view. Only if you only go there for to go down the rabbit holes. I've spent years looking at you go down one rabbit hole, consciousness, you go into another rabbit hole, quantum physics. You go to quantum physics, you have to go into solar activity. You go solar activity, you have to go into planetary. You go into it. So the moment you're going down the rabbit holes, and I spent years going down it. And what I've done on the website, I've collated kind of the world's greatest thinkers that I've come across so far with my learning. And kind of brought them all together into different kind of sections. So there's an area for water, which people don't understand at all, don't even understand water and how powerful and conscious that is. There's an area for consciousness, there's an area for sacred geometry, there's areas for all these different people, and there's the world's greatest thinkers in there, Ram Dasses and Randall Colsons and Emoto, and all these people are in there, and so I brought that together for people who are starting to kind of wake up, so they get access to the greatest minds, and they can find someone that resounds with them, and they find really interesting, and then they can go and find lots more information and listen to them a lot more on different structures and everything. It's a not for money organization. I said I don't aim to earn any money from it ever. You get my book for free when you join, called Am I Weird or What? 50 thoughts about life and death and the bits in between. It's just 50 crazy thoughts about our existence and what we're going through right now, and what life is. And we got a Facebook group, and we share. The only rule in the Facebook group is no negativity. It just has to be that nothing but positive, because there's enough negative out there. There's plenty of channels you can go and watch negative stuff if you want to share that. It's not a problem, but not on that channel. Just it's a place for people to go and just see nice things and go, the world is okay. So that's my kind of foundation stone, if you like, and there's other things that I'm putting together at the same time, but I've been pulled into creating Greater Britain, and the point of Greater Britain is kind of moving towards where you're moving. We see ourselves as being the glue. We're interested in bringing together all the independents. We're talking to quite a few Reform MPs as well. That's why, Edward, it's interesting to have you on the call. I didn't know you'd be here, so it's great. And we're looking at promoting them. I'm constantly on LinkedIn doing posts talking about removing the two-party system, because it's a dead system. I get thousands of views per post, and again, it's not a money making or an ego or anything else type scheme. It's we need to bring everybody together. And what was great is, if for me, one of the things is to start to create singular candidates in boroughs, so we're not fighting amongst each other, because what I was starting to see was everything you alluded to, which was the fact that if there's so many parties out there all trying to do good, all with the same objectives, all fed up with what's going on, the problem that we end up having is, if you have 5 people all in a borough, and they all take 2% of the vote or 3% of the vote each, and then Labour or Conservative get in with 5%, and it's like you're sitting there going like, what have we done? There was a real opportunity here for an independent to get in if they'd amalgamated all of those votes and put her in and got 10%. But the Conservatives and Labour just snuck through with 5% because we've all been fighting amongst each other. So we're just about to start pushing kind of WhatsApp groups for MPs. So we're bringing a lot of MPs together because we think that they need to, they can learn off each other and we can support them. I help them with my old life was working in marketing, sales, and business, and I'm a messaging guy. So I used to double companies' turnovers year after year, just from refining their messaging, and so that the people who they're interested in working with understood what the benefits were working with them. And so I'm just applying that skill set now to MPs, and the main thing I'm pushing MPs to focus on right now is to stop talking about policies, stop talking about what they're going to do, and actually become a human being and explain to people they live in a borough, they know the kind of issues that are there. They tell them a bit about themselves. They connect to them as an individual, as a human being, and within that structure itself, it steps them outside of the kind of fear that everybody's got. That if the moment you start kind of spewing out policies, then immediately people go, "Oh, it's a politician." And at the moment, everybody hates politicians. They despise them. They don't trust them. There's zero trust for politicians across the country. And so I'm encouraging all kind of reform. I'm speaking to reform people. I'm speaking to direct democracy. I'm trying to speak to as many different groups as possible to bring them back to bring them together into one space, so that we can start to work together. Because I think that there's a huge growth now of awakening across the country. People realise what's been going on. They can see just how inept and how poor these people are who call themselves the elite. I mean, how arrogant is that? And how kind of mentally deranged is that to actually even say that you're an elite? And to really start to bring those people together so we can actually do something about this. And this is the time right now, because I'm also into the planetary. I've been looking at the north and south magnetic poles are coming together right now. Pluto's in Aquarius. The sun's going through a 12,000 year cycle. So all these climate changes and stuff are occurring because they're occurring. They've got nothing to do with to what we're doing. Basically, they're going to happen. The ley lines are opening up dramatically.
Yeah. Oh, Cliff, you're so on our page.
there's masses going on right now,
Yeah,
which are
absolutely.
huge, and people don't. I think people are actually there because we focus so much on our eyesight, and we take 80% of reality based on what we can see. People are getting. I'm meeting. I know many people, very awake and very aware people, who are also becoming very unstable with what's going on, simply because the vibrational pattern and everything's changing around them. And I'm just bringing everybody down into themselves and saying, okay, come down into yourself and just focus on you. This is about each individual coming down and looking at themselves, taking full accountability, responsibility for who they are.
I'm just going to stop you there, Cliff, because you're absolutely on our page, and we're saying the same thing, that actually it's going to come down to us. And I think what you're going on to say is that actually we have to do this energy work, otherwise it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Absolutely.
We can surf the wave, or we can
everybody's going to have to do it.
We've got to do it. This is our up leveling.
You're either going to do it and you're going to get on with it yourself, or you're going to be faced with one serious wall at some time.
You're going to feel it. It's going to
you're going to be slapped around the face so badly, and I feel sorry for those people.
I think to a certain extent that's already happened. I mean, I've felt slapped around in the COVID years. That was a big hit for me. I think a lot of people did, and that's why we woke up. But now you realize you do the energy work, you get yourself into this high vibration, and then you can surf it a bit and sort of look down from above and go, oh, what a shit show. But anyway, I'm just going to make a point about independence. the reason that we sort of came together as a group in the first place, and the reason that I originally went in with Freedom Alliance, is there's just one cautionary note about independents, and that is that some of them are people who are actually Labour or Tories or whatever, who think they can't, or who are a bit disgruntled that they didn't get in as the candidate, or they don't think that they think their parties are actually going to do really badly, so they're standing as independents. There's a bit of that, you have to be a bit careful. There were a lot of independents in the various by-elections or council elections that we've had, who were right on the narrative with COVID and right on the narrative with climate change, and they were completely buying everything. And people see independent and go, oh, different. It's not always the case. It's got to be really clear that these are awakened, heart-led, guided by source, however you're going to phrase it, but whatever. They are
people-led.
Sorry, Lynn, but
people-led.
I have to say that I agree and disagree in the same way. And the reason for that is this cannot all happen in one go. There is, at the moment, it's so pus-filled. The whole of society is so deeply corrupt. It cannot be the only way it can actually happen is either the planetary goes to a complete cleanse and kills billions of people, and we start all over again, which is a potential in civilization wise, or there's a revolution and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people die. That's the only way that's going to occur, in my opinion. But
I think if we get, I really think there's a chance that this could be the easiest revolution we've ever had. That we
100%.
just high vibe, and we get all we've got to do is stay happy. And
for me, it's stages. It's stages that we need to. If we can just do this stage by stage, the initial stage for my thinking is personally, the initial stage is to just stop. We've got a ship that's running really, really fast. It's going really, really fast, and it's a bloody great big tanker, and it's got full momentum, and it's going one way.
Oh, you see, I think the momentum is the only thing that's going, and that actually we're just living out the momentum of what happened.
I know we could go on that one.
Anyway, can I go to Julie?
In the world of politics,
let's go to Julie, and then let's bring Edward into this.
Yeah.
Can I just do that, Cliff? Sorry, because we've got a few others.
Of course.
Julie.
Very briefly, I mean, Independent Forum in Mansfield, which was supposed to be independents, were basically the people that were really fed up with the Labour Party, but they were still part of the system. So that's why I didn't want to be independent. But also, I do like what you've said. And also, I'm now branch secretary of the Nottinghamshire Workers' Party of Britain. And so hopefully I'll be able to help you to link up with others in the Workers' Party of Britain, the George Galloway movement. Brilliant. So please reach out to me directly.
Whereabouts in Nottingham are you?
I'm actually based in Mansfield, and we're calling the branch Nottinghamshire. We're not separating out Nottingham. We are a whole branch at the moment.
Yeah. I used to live in Alfreton and Ilkeston. Well, Ilson as it's called. And I was there when the miners' strike was going on and all the pits were closing. That's when that shows my age. But I was.
Where are you based now, Cliff?
Sorry.
Where are you based now, Cliff?
I'm in Enfield in London.
Oh right! Oh my goodness, a defector.
So I was working for the coal board. I was working for the coal board then, and I was still working, and even experienced Arthur Scargill in the distance while I was in my office doing his speech on Berry Hill Park in Mansfield. And he should not have been there, but we will work together. But I'm very aware that Edward needs to say something as well. So thank you very much.
Link up, and then Edward, can I let you introduce yourself now?
Hey everybody, thank you for letting me attend your meeting, and it's great to see everybody again, and some new faces as well, Cliff and other people. I think there's some really common themes that are running through our meeting. I too, Cliff and Rachel, I think this could be a moment in history. I think things are really changing out there. People are so fed up with the political system that we've got, the parties, the whole so-called liberal elite, the governors, the whole lot of it. I just think things are about to change. I'm not from a political background. I'm from a business background, but I'm so despairing about how our country's been run for decades, not just the COVID lockdowns, way before that as well, the whole way it's all been going. And I decided rather than shouting at the telly, I had to give it a go and try and get elected myself to try and change things for the good. Another common theme that's coming through here is that if all us independents, and I class Reform as an independent party as well, we're not like the tired old lib lab conservatives, the Greens, that have all got pretty much the same policies. We're offering people a real choice here at the next election. I think if we fragment and go off and form our own independence, and then, as Cliff said, we all compete against each other to try and get elected, we split the vote and allow the tired old parties to get back in again. So I'm very much in favour of us sticking together as much as we can do. You mentioned direct democracy as well. Several of us have met with direct democracy, and I've got a lot of I have a lot of support for direct democracy. I think it's a way that the people can actually start controlling our own destiny rather than the establishment that do control us at the moment. I looked at the Love Movement's policies, and I'm very much in agreement with them. The liberation away from the WEF, the WHO, etc., giving everybody an opportunity to thrive. The vitality, Julie, I'm really with you on this one as well. Nature, the health, the exercise. There's so much more we can be doing than just giving people pills to continue their illness, really, which a placebo effect in a way, and very much empowerment of common law rights. So I think we've got so much in common. It would be a shame for us to split the vote at the next election. Let's all try and stick together. Let's try and work together if we possibly can do.
And Edward, I'll happily help you as much as I possibly can, mate, with messaging. I've done a leaflet for direct democracy for an MP there, where the front and the back are talking about nothing but personal. They're very, and actually they say very clearly, we know you probably hate politicians. That's great, because I'm not one.
Have you come across the Croydon Constitutionalists, Cliff?
I haven't. No, we're just
in South London, but very much
trying to pull people together now. I wanted to get some traction on LinkedIn first before and start to
very much as we're all of this libertarian, and we believe that our own taxes, we're better to spend them ourselves rather than some figure in government to waste money for us.
Just like
okay, Rachel has her hand up. Can I just go to Rachel, because she probably wants to jump in on exactly this topic?
Well, I just wanted to raise one point that we've always thought in the Love Movement that our mission was to reignite and reinterest all of those lost sheep who've given up on politics. And because that's the thing with all of the by-elections, and you see like the turnout 27% or something, and you've got this huge number of people, just this lost electorate, who are either hate politics or can't be bothered or don't think they're going to make any difference. And what if we could reignite and re-inspire those people to come back on board? And that, to me, that's, as a marketeer, like, how can we bring those lost sheep back into the fold? You know, that's always been a big thing for us.
Yeah.
I'll shut up now.
Can I I'll just come in and then come to you, Edward. I sort of had a little bit of a moment just then when you said that, Rachel. I wonder if somewhere on our literature we should be saying, you know, even if you don't like me, something along the lines of, even if you don't like me, please vote for somebody. And here is what this person, you know, this person we believe is a good person because, and this person is good because, and this person is good because, and this person is good. So actually do a little reference point at the back. You know, if I wasn't standing, I'd be voting for this type of thing.
The challenge is you only get to know who's standing.
But like, that would be a different look, wouldn't it? It would be a different look. That
you only get to know who's standing. Yeah. Literally, this is the kind of the system.
It is.
They only announce it 28 days before, which gives you a tiny window to actually do that approach.
And you can't back out. So if you've put yourself forward, you know, you don't back out. You're sort of on the ballot paper, even if you're dead. You know, it's just
the whole lot of it stinks, Rachel. We've had there's a local district by-election near where we are in Amber Valley, and it was all kept quiet. You couldn't even see it on the website. So there's no democracy. It was just a stitch-up with the tired old parties.
Same with Bakewell. I only found out about that quite by chance.
Yeah.
And this is where
the deposit.
that is why we need to communicate together in the way that we are today, and in behind the scenes as well, as often as possible, and have somewhere that we can all hopefully know that we can contact each other when we find out about these things. Because the more we can unite together properly, the better we can be, that we will have that one candidate on the ballot paper that's poignant to that ballot paper, but also that, because I know Rachel was thinking that people that would vote for her potentially wouldn't vote for Edward because of under the Reform UK umbrella. But what we need to do is help people realise that actually Reform UK are independents. And I know because of how Mansfield's independence had been, I was really against that. And I know that one of my friends' friends, actually did not vote for me for the mayor candidacy because I was classed as independent, and she knows of the independent forum that aren't independents. So everywhere is different, and this is where we know our local area best, and we need to keep talking to each other about this to support each other of the best step forward. Okay.
The thing with reform candidates as well, we're not whipped, so we can actually make our own decisions up, and we can actually follow other policies within reason. I also, Rachel, so agree with you. There's a whole electorate out there that don't bother voting because they think it just doesn't affect them. And people before us have fought and died for our right to vote, and it's just so sad that people don't get out there and vote. I did think, what is the answer? Maybe you come up with a law that unless the 60% of the people vote in the constituency, then the vote is actually ignored. Something like that.
Yeah, I would like that as well. I would like that as well, or a none of the above option. But what I think that is a real problem, because what people don't understand and what we really need to get across is that if they do not vote, they are voting for the Tory Lib Lab party by default. You know, these are the parties that are out there that will get the majority because their party membership will turn out and will vote for them. And if nobody else bothers, because then they'll get in, and they don't care if they're in on 1% of the electorate. They just don't care. It's like, oh well, we won the election. If nobody else could be bothered, you know, apathy is their friend, unfortunately. So that's
we need to really get that message out that if people don't vote, they are voting for whoever gets in, and that's what they don't want.
Letting idiots choose. It's as simple as that.
So
sorry,
Caroline wanted to come in.
Yeah, I was just trying to see who else was here, and can we put hands up so that because when you put your hand up, you jump to the top of my screen, and it's really easy to see. Caroline, were you wanting to come in? Which one, Caroline or sorry, Carrie or Caroline? Caroline, you're on mute. So Carrie, can you just wait a minute? Let's see if we can get Caroline.
Yeah, sorry. I'm using my phone and I'm not used to using Zoom, so finding the controls is a nightmare. And I'm sorry I've been anonymous, but I've got lots of things going on, so I didn't want to disrupt by moving. I think this is a fantastic opportunity, and I agree with so much that's been said before, and it's wonderful to see how the spiritual can be brought into the physical. So it's embodied, and we can see that in leadership, and that's really what I'm doing at the moment. How do we bring forward the new embodied 5D plus role models? But for this particular election, how can we actually disrupt the way in different areas that candidates are being seen? So I love the way that you're talking about how can we come together? How can the candidates maybe have a group meeting and say, look, there are 6 of us, 3 of us or 4 of us stand for the same values. How can we put out a group video or some kind of announcement that we all stand for the same values? Do something different that the electorate are not expecting to see a unified front, and why. So I would love to see some brainstorming on what could we do to disrupt the way that the public see those that are putting themselves forward.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Thanks,
If you-
Caroline.
if
Carrie,
you
did
look
you
at-
want to
Oh,
come in as
sorry.
well? I think that's a really good thing that we do actually need to pattern interrupt how people see politics generally. And I mean, I don't really care for politics. I don't think it has any place in running our communities, to be honest. It's all about power play. But that's what we've got at the moment. And part of our role is to disrupt the damage that is being done, as well as building the new communities up. So top down, bring the top down and bring the bottom up. So we do need to think about how we disrupt, pattern interrupt the public's thinking of politics, as well as pattern interrupting the politicians themselves. Carrie, did you have something to say? You look like you were. No, you didn't. Oh, thank you. Okay. Is there
No,
anybody else who
just-
hasn't yet spoken? Can I just see who hasn't yet spoken? Joanne, did you want to speak, or you're on mute, darling? So, Joanne, we haven't seen her, Joanne, for a while. She often can't make it, but it's nice to see her.
No, I've had a lot of personal traumas, basically. I've been in Australia for 4 months, and it was a long story I won't go into. My own personal COVID psycho, I'd say. Anyway, it's a long story and strange. So no, I don't really have anything to say, but it's very interesting. And all the speakers, yeah, I find it fascinating. And there's a lot of hope.
Oh, yes, there is. So much.
Full of hope. Absolutely. We are changing things and we're going to do it.
Totally. Brilliant. I mean, even if we just change the minds of our own little village, or even our own family, because if we just get them to go out and vote, and go out and vote for somebody different, we are doing, just imagine if so many people do that, if just each of us do that, it just makes, the ripple effect is just incredible. So can I just, Roger, did you have something you wanted to say? You normally have a development of some sort.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I missed the first part of the
It was me
meeting.
being a hippie and bringing us into the space. You're all right.
So, I'm not really mentally engaged very much with what's going on. But all I can say is that I shall be out on my scooter tomorrow, hopefully, with my loudspeaker. I've just got a new loudspeaker, announcing to everybody, something of what's going on. I can't say too much, but I'll be saying what I can. And that's my contribution.
That's so brave. It's brilliant. Well done, Roger. That's because you're in York, aren't you? So you'll have
Yes, I'm in
you'll
York.
have an audience and tourists too. It'll go all around the country. So,
Well, I won't be
MP for
going.
York Central. MP for York Central.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, York Central. But
And,
my problem is that I'm not sure whether the scooter will take me as far as the city centre, and that's a little bit of a problem. So I'm just sticking to a local suburb tomorrow.
okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Test the boundaries. We always have to, don't we? Who is DL, and does DL want to come on and speak? I will just carry on if there's nothing in 5 seconds or so. Hello, DL. Oh, yes, hello. Did you want to say something, or you? No. Okay, it's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you anyway. So can I have a hand up for the next contributor who wants to add something pertinent?
Can I just add on some of the things that have been said?
Of course.
From everybody, because it's really interesting, and I think it's I think it's really important as well. I think it's really all those questions are really things we've been kind of battering around. Everything that I'm doing on LinkedIn is just anti-two-party. It's just showing them up for what they've done over the last 40 years from Thatcher. My latest one that's going out, I'll put posts up, what a waste, just showing how they've fundamentally wasted everything we've had in this country. Would I lie to you? They're the kind of titles that I'm coming out with that people are kind of responding to. And just questioning people to get them to start to think about what they're saying and what they're doing. And then the one I'm going out with probably next week is Union Hijacked. So it'll be basically showing how what are the British people, who are we, what do we stand for, and it's going to be much more questioning people as to so be Union Jack as a background, and behind that you'll see all the faces of the Prime Minister, and there'll be Union Hijacked. jacked, so we're Union Jack but hijacked.
Oh.
And it's going to question people and just say to them, you know, what do we stand for? What is the United Kingdom? We're a wonderful mix of cultures and people, and what do we stand for? You know, are we going to continually allow these people to represent us on a global level? Is that who we say we are? You know, so I'm at this moment, what I'm just doing is I'm undermining people's thinking, and it's really interesting that quite a few people come back to me and say a lot of things. Oh, you know, it's not worth a vote, it's not worth this, it's not worth that. And then I get in conversations with them and I'm saying, like, well, hold on a minute, you know, this is a real opportunity. Everybody's been saying this is a real opportunity of time. And actually, I think if we don't do it this time, we're in big stuck. I mean, from what I see going forward, we could
let's
be.
not be too doom mongering. I mean,
Well,
remember,
no, if they implement the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, that they bring in CBDCs, digital IDs, and they bring that through, then there is a.
But
Then
Cliff, can I
there'll be
just
a lot of.
remind you of your astrology, the Uranus energy, the
No, I'm not
unexpected
saying
can
it's the end.
happen.
I didn't say it was the end. I know what's going to happen after that.
I
There's
think
something
it's
else going to happen
completely
after that, but I just think it's we can do it. We can do it in a different way right now. We've got a chance of actually making an impact. But I think that one of the things I watched a short while ago was about targeting the 20% that are actually willing to do something about it. I think there's some people out there who are so asleep, and so it's almost pointless wasting your time on them, because they're gonna stay asleep. That's where they've decided they wish to be, and that's fine. Who am I to tell them that they should suddenly now wake up when their time is right to wake up? That'll be their time to wake up. I can't push that on them.
Okay.
But I think there's a
I
targeting of people who are actually are kind of in there and can kind of move things forward a bit.
If I can just mention that actually we do need, there is a possibility that we do need some people to be asleep. I was speaking to someone on the train and they were bringing in systems that were using AI and they were doing all this amazing stuff. No idea about any of the other stuff. I'm totally oblivious, but they were bringing in things that we can use. But they wouldn't have been able to do it if they knew the full impact of what it could possibly be. Do you see what I mean? So there are people who need to be able to carry on keeping it, because I mean, if they were anything like me, they go, oh my God, and go under a rock for, you know, when they realized what was going on. And it takes a while to get over that. So sometimes we just need people to carry on as well. And it's not that they're bad or, you know, or even thick. It's just they just need to, it's just washing over them and they're fine. And they maybe, and they'll probably always be fine and never have to know. Can I go to Rachel and Julie? So let's start with Rachel.
Yeah, so Cliff, you fit right well in with the love movement, because you don't stop talking, just like all of us. No one can ever get a word in edgeways. Anyway, the thing I was going to say, what I was just going to comment, let's reflect on about the whole of the coming. This is obviously very UKIP coming out of the EU, because the people said we don't want to be overlords. We don't want to be we don't want to be controlled by, we don't want to lose our sovereignty. We want our sovereignty back. And then it's like we're out of the frying pan into the frickin' fire, coming out of the EU, and suddenly we find we're under a one world government, but, you know, big corporation driven World Economic Forum shit show. I mean, it's outrageous. And immigration, all of the, like, thousands of, you know, people just coming into this, flooding into this country, and they all seem to sort of work for debt collection agencies and Serco, and it's very, very frightening. And it's funny because Alan put me in touch. Alan Graves, obviously Reform, standing for East Midlands Mayor, one of Edward's colleagues, put me in touch with a guy who's 80 now, and he's been anti-EU or European market, common union, European Union since 1974 or whenever we went into it. And it's like he spent the last 50 years of his life kind of fighting this, and it was just mind-boggling. And he just said, I'm too old and ill to continue, but I want to hand the baton over to anyone who can continue. And it's almost like you can spend a whole lifetime trying to challenge the system, and like, when are we ever going to get anywhere? Like, we have to break through. This is the
Uranus. Look at where we are. This is the, you know, Pluto return has come over America, as we said. This is where Pluto was when America threw off the yoke of the British, if you like. So they're ready to throw off the yoke again. And
True.
Uranus has come in and taken over. Taken over, basically kicked Saturn out of the show a bit. So and we're moving into the age of Aquarius and throwing off the sort of paternalistic top-down scene age. And it's a very different energy. And I felt it shift over Christmas from a very restricted energy to a very much more, look, and it's all going to be surprising. And that this isn't just the astrology, it's just common sense. It's going to be unexpected. It's going to be surprising. There's lots of things been swelling up that they don't know about, and I'm quite looking forward to it in a sort of anticipation type way. So I don't think we have to fear. We just have to keep ourselves riding the wave.
You chose to be here at this moment.
We chose 8 billion of us chose to be here to see this. I mean, it's
you better enjoy the ride, because whatever it's going to be, you chose to be here as an entity. So that's your choice.
Can I just mention immigration? That I'm personally, I love to float around the world doing whatever I like, and I'm very happy. And I think that's a sort of natural state of people. The problem we have at the moment with immigration is that it's socially engineered by the bastards, let's just put it like that. That we've got a socially engineered system where poverty creation, food shortage creation, war creation, forcing populations to move en masse to different places, and we've got people being taken out of communities, young men usually, out of communities and put in other communities, disrupting both communities and causing fear and suspicion in both. So while I'd love to open the borders, just go, everybody move around all around the world, at the moment I can see, here comes the Taurian practicality, that at the moment we can't really do that because of the social engineering and the shit show creation that is going on from above. So it really is a case of get rid of that first, and then we can all start to move naturally and freely and organically in a balanced way around the world. So I'm always hesitant to say I hate immigration because I love flitting. Anyway, can I go to Julie?
Yeah, I would say immigration has become demonized, and every single person that lives in the United Kingdom is a migrant ancestrally anyway. But what's happened, and I am talking ancestrally, I'm talking literally from the origins of man or humans, whatever we want to say. But what is happening is they are deliberately, as has already been said, splitting up communities, including the communities that people migrate from. Like they're splitting our families with how they are with the education system and in lots of other ways. And so that should not be happening, and they are deliberately splitting these strong. I was talking to someone earlier today about some people from Africa that have come over to this country, and they are sort of having problems settling into this country and being properly integrated. But also they've had to come here for various reasons. When I say had to, the powers that be have contrived it. And they've contrived that to split up their strong communities that they did have and their strong families that they did have back in Africa. And this should not be happening. And we shouldn't need to have to be forced almost into migrating somewhere else. But that's something completely different to something else I want to talk about. So Reform UK, the response I've had from people that watch, to me, far too much mainstream, is they've been very about it being racist and things. And I've been amazed how I was criticised significantly by two very close people to me, but I know they are very mainstream. And because of that, I hardly see them now. And how they were just on the mention of Reform UK. And I'm like, well, no, I've met some real people like Edward, like some of the others that I've been delivering leaflets through for Andrew Bridgin, and they are so genuine people, and they are counsellors, a lot of them, that are actually working proactively in their own communities and really supporting those own communities. And not only are they doing that, they're joining up with other communities that are needing support and go and help them as well. but they really are helping their own communities significantly as well. And I even know that because someone that I happened to bump into, and we got talking a bit about politics and things like that, she spontaneously mentioned her local councillor, Alex Stevenson, who is part of Reform UK for HENA. And she, without me saying anything, and he's a wonderful soul, she told me spontaneously how proactive he's been as a councillor to really support that neighbourhood. And then she said certain things and I managed to suss that it was the Alex that I've actually met. Now, the other thing is Reform UK, yes, they do mention that they are independents, but somehow the mainstream isn't allowing that message to get out there. And that is putting loads of mainstream people off. Workers' Party, George Galloway emphasises the need for independence to be helped and supported, not necessarily coming under that umbrella, but enabling them to resonate enough with the Workers' Party of Britain. And this is where Reform UK, the genuine ones, and Workers' Party and all the other genuine independents, we need to come together. And I'm very mindful that Edward hasn't had as much conversation on here as perhaps he could have done, but he's been very respectful as
It's
well.
5 minutes yet. 5 minutes yet.
I'll
So,
come
yeah,
to
we've got
It's good to listen. It's good to listen, and some really good points there, Julie. I think the thing to take away from this as well, we are not alone. There are so many people that I'm talking to all across my constituency, and I've no doubt all across the country that are feeling like this. And I go back to my original point, this could be a moment in history, whether these stars are aligning or whether there's something going to happen, and there's something big. I think this could be a real moment in history. We are not alone.
Indeed. So that's really nice to know, actually. And it was the first, when I sort of stand in the park, I sort of had this verbal diarrhea because I was like, oh God, I can speak freely and not have to censor my speech. And it was just amazing to find like-minded individuals. The racism point is, I think I get really annoyed with this because it's like, you say, oh, the COVID jab's causing harm. Oh, you're a racist or you're an anti-vaxxer or whatever. I mean, literally, there is no joined up thinking. These are trigger words that have been put into our, that have been weaponized against people who think independently. So there's racism, there's anti-vaxxer, there's climate
far right, Lynn,
far right, extremists, and these are basically words that when you say them, it means that people can switch off their frontal lobe. They don't have to reason anymore. They can just go, oh, you're an anti-vaxxer, and that's it. Debate over. So these are words that we are now challenging. I mean, I'm just going, well, if that's what it means, then fine. If that's what far right means, that's what I am. I mean, I just don't care now about these words that I know have been weaponized. So it's that's something, but it is a message that I think you sort of have to get across. I think it's probably because of the association with UKIP, and they did the same with UKIP. They did the same with Brexit. When I've been at by-elections, I've found the people absolutely brilliant. Really, not at all anti anybody. They just want to get on with their own lives and let other people get on with theirs. Is pretty much what most of us want to do. I think just live our best lives, isn't it? And let our communities live their best lives too. And we're here because there are other people interfering with that. So, okay, we went down to the last couple of minutes. Does anybody have anything they would like to say? Caroline's got her hand up first. Thank you, DL.
Caroline needs to unmute again.
You need to unmute, Caroline. And it's a phone and I can't find the unmute. Oh, Francis has just come in. Interesting one. It's very late.
There we go. Sorry. I would like to respectfully remind us that there is a bigger context to this. This is part of humanity's shift after 26,000 years. And as Gandhi said, we cannot have peace inside the world, unless we have peace within ourselves. So not to forget that the frequency that we each hold and how we are in society is probably just, I know this is controversial, as important as the actions that we do.
I think that's absolutely
working from that space, then our impact, we will be far more impactful. So it's not just about us trying to fix the world, it's about ensuring that any action we take, we know we are fully aligned before we do that. so that the energies are what will shift mass consciousness.
Totally, thank you for that.
That's
Yeah,
me.
there's mass
Done.
meditations and things going on, and they're trying to heal, you know, to lift the whole of humanity, and they do work. Mass meditation.
I mean, it's not one without the other,
No.
but we do need to come from that space first and foremost, if you will
And I
mind
think
me
it's the most
respectfully saying that.
important. Yeah, thank you. It's the most important, because otherwise you find that the ego kicks in and you start making bad decisions, or the fear kicks in and you start making bad decisions. So working on yourself is absolutely, you know,
And we're
keeping
human
yourself alive.
beings, not human doings.
Thank you. Yes. So yeah, and these meditations, there was an interesting bit of research that found that when a group meditates, and it was done, you know, scientifically, the crime rates drop in the area, the heart attack incidents drop, car accidents drop. Now, I'm a cynical scientist myself, so I immediately thought, gosh, who are these nutters that when you put them away for an hour, the crime rate drops in the cars? But let's just, you know, these are good people. They aren't going out being a one-man crime wave or causing lots of crashes or anything. But that's the power of it, power of prayer, the power of meditation. It can even change the past. That has actually been shown as well, which is amazing, just incredible. Joe Dispenza, if anybody needs to go and look that one up, has a big account of all these things, just incredible. And it ties in with the quantum theory, which of course tells us that time is a bit of an illusion anyway. Julie, last thoughts.
Yes, I'm a kinesiologist, so I use muscle response testing, okay? And until someone's experienced it, they won't realise what it is about. But basically, I will test a person's arm muscle if it's going to stay strong or if it goes weak. And then if it stays strong reliably, I test it that it will go weak through pinching the muscle, and it does, and then smooth it out and it stays strong again. Every single thought that you have can potentially either weaken or strengthen your own energy and the energy of those around you. So what we do is we start off with the person having to think and say out loud no, and then their arm actually goes weak. Okay. Now, I had one person who her arm didn't go weak because she was thinking, yes, I'm thinking no, yes, I'm thinking no, because she was a case study person and she was trying too hard for me. And with that same muscle response test, when I then got her to think yes, it actually went weak. So that told me psychologically where she was. She had to develop a positive thought for her strong and a negative thought for her weak. So in the future, whenever she had to do the no, she had to do her negative thought, which was about someone that she knew that was overweight and under exercising. And so she thought of that person and it sent her arm weak. Okay. Then that person started exercising and started eating differently. And so when she did the no, it didn't work. And I'm like, oh, right, this is a bit strange that it's not working. So what can we do to help you have a proper negative thought? And well, before I said that, she said, well, that person, she's started exercising and she's a lot happier and better. So that's why it's not working anymore. And so then we had to develop another negative thought. I did a workshop and I got someone to volunteer and go out of the room. And I said to the people in the room, right, when she comes in, just think something negative about her. Okay. She came in the room, a muscle response went weak. Sent her out again, told everyone, right, think something that is so negative that you think you never think it about someone. She came in the room and a muscle response tested really weak. It went just down so quickly. Then I sent her out the room, right, think something positive. She came in and muscle response tested positive. I then asked her what was her experience of what we'd been doing. And she said, I don't know what you were thinking the second time I came in the room, but as soon as I walked in the room, I could feel that energy and I felt horrible. And that's when I said, well, this is what I told them to do. And she said, when I came in the room the last time, oh, it felt so much better. This is what we are doing with every single thought. So even if you notice a worry coming in, you have to transform it, but make sure you go and get some access to help you process your stresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
We really have to choose our thoughts very carefully. I mean, you think it's in your own head and you can just get away with a sneaky little bad thought, but you can't, because it goes vibrate. It's a vibration. It's a, you know, you can be, these things can be measured now with the energy field around us. It's amazing, and now we can be caught with our,
Then just on that, because
thinking pants down.
there's a video I'd love everybody to watch on narcissism. It's by a guy called Dan Winter. I don't know if people have heard of Dan Winter. But he basically measured emotions, and he went through all the, he basically looked at the transference of emotions through touch, and basically every emotion looks the same. It looks like a V. So every emotion has a V. If it's gratitude, it looks like a V. If it's hate, it looks like a V. It's anger, it looks like a V. And the only differentiator between them was the moment at which it was transferred as an emotional frequency and vibration to the people, which is like 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second. The only emotion, because I wanted to leave everybody with this because it fits in with everything we're talking about, the only emotion that sat outside and had a completely different perspective, a completely different frequency, was love.
There you go.
And the amazing thing about it that was even more, for me, was way more profound than that, was that it actually held back the moment of transference until the point of pi, or phi as people call it. And if you understand what phi is the building blocks of all life. So love actually is the building blocks of all life, and the vibration of love is the building blocks of all life, which is why now we can say to each other, I life you, or you can say, isn't love, looking at the sunset, isn't love beautiful? Because they're one and the same thing. They're actually the building blocks of life is actually love from that perspective.
And this needs to be genuine love, not love that wants to manipulate somebody.
Completely, that's not
the same thing at all. Yeah, we have to. And remember that even things that we think of as inanimate, water, it stores it. It can, you know, it will crystallize differently when exposed to love. And hate, and it can learn. That's an amazing thing, isn't it? I didn't realize that until very recently, that water can actually learn. Somebody did an experiment with Wi-Fi and exposed water to it, and it had a very disrupted crystallizing pattern. And then they melted it and did it again, and it was a lot more coherent. The water learned to cope with it. It's when they, you know, it's just incredible, all the things we're learning now that we, you know, we didn't realize just how conscious everything else was. We thought it was just us, you know, well, we're the conscious ones, aren't we clever? And now we know that it's everything. So thank you. Yeah, love is the vibration that is keeping everything going. So everything, using the word and keep heading it out to people and just projecting it onto people, and it will all be you know, just think what a difference that'll make when we do that, and we don't sit there going.
And also people need to reflect on when they are exposed to that word love, how do they actually notice that they're feeling? Because sometimes people, because of life experiences and life happenings, they can at first not, like my friend first started telling me that I deserved, and I didn't realize I deserved. I thought everybody else did. This is years ago when I was first, I think I was still married actually. And as she told me, every time she saw me, that I deserved better than how I was living my life and being treated, I then gradually, because she said it every time I saw her, I gradually started to be able to believe it. And now I know I deserve. And that is an amazing journey.
And Joe just put in the comments, it's difficult sometimes, but we'll try. So see it as a fun experiment, Joe. It's like, oh, there's a niggle. Oh, there you go, have some love. You know, and see if you can make them smile or something. So Rachel, really must be the last. We are 1:05.
Well, I was just going to say we are overrunning, and it's been so great to have you on, Cliff and Edward. Thank you so much for coming on. I just wanted to say that there is this thing that we've always said this from the beginning, that love needs to be sort of soft, fluffy, and marshmallow, and there is a righteous anger that is also love, that passion of like that strong no, and the self-love which sets boundaries and says no, and if there are difficult people or people who are causing you harm, injury, or loss, is absolutely justified to be strong. I know you say this a lot, Julie. Like we mustn't be trapped into thinking that love is just soft, fluffy, and weak. It's very powerful.
Yeah, the lioness energy, they're sort of, defending her cubs. You can just
Yes.
imagine. I've got a broody hen at the minute who's a lovely girl, but when I go near her at the moment, because she's got she's like, oh, it's so funny, it's so cute. But and yeah, we have to realize that standing in your own power and setting the boundaries, like this far and no further, is also a loving thing to do. So yeah, let's. So thank you very much to everybody. It's been great to see you, and those watching the recording, I hope that's been something you've enjoyed. And we'll see some of you again in a month and some of you in a week. And in the meantime, if you could encourage people to vote in these mayor elections, you can put "I do not consent" if you want, or you can vote for somebody who's standing against the actual post, because the post itself is illegitimate. It has no consent from the people at all. And I sort of think we should castrate it right at the start. But that said, it's all changing anyway, and I think it's going to be so irrelevant in a few years' time that and we will be living our best lives very soon. So thanks everybody for coming. Thank you. And
thank you, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.
bye.
And stay on in case after the recording.